كنت متأذي، صعب كنت أتقبلها.
He was high functioning, he was extremely autonomous, extremely independent.
Significant stroke that affected his life.
And that was quite difficult for him to accept.
فأدركت أن المسألة كبيرة، المسألة خطيرة.
أول ساعتين ما كان حاس باللي حواليه أو شو اللي يستوي معاه.
طبعاً نفسياً كنت منهار. ما صحيت ولا أنا في الإسعاف، فأدركت أن المسألة كبيرة، المسألة خطيرة، اللي كنت أعرف أني أنا مش في وعي الكامل. أنا أصبت بجلطة دماغية، وكان تحرير الأطباء أن فعلا في تقصير، سببها يعني جزء من الأسباب الأخرى اللي هو الضغط والسكر.
Ali himself didn't necessarily recognise all of those deficits, and we refer to this as a sort of a lack of insight. It's quite common following any form of acquired brain injury, where there might be a psychological or a neurological lack of awareness about one's deficits.
From medical side, Ali had problems with his blood pressure control. He required daily monitoring. He required adjustment of medications. He also required adjustment of diabetes medications. He required some pharmaceutical support to boost up his mood and improve his concentration and attention.
Ali actually required quite a bit of supervision, and that was quite difficult for him to accept, and he struggled with that during the early stages of his admission.
Ali, in this kind of situation, he was feeling down. Before he was fully independent. He has his own way of deciding things.
فالحمد لله بفضل يعني زوجتي كانت معي وكانت ملمة ومدركة للي حصل لي. كان تصرفها سليم، بسرعة نقلوني إلى المستشفى.
احنا قضينا في مركز أمانة 3 شهور. يعني قدموا بما نقول أفضل الممارسات العلمية بالنسبة للتأهيل، سواء بالعلاج الطبيعي أو العلاج الوظيفي أو بالنسبة للنطق واللغة.
When Ali arrived at Amana, he had upper limb and lower limb right-sided weakness. He also had weak grip strength and poor fine motor coordination of his right hand. So this affected his ability to complete ADLs, such as opening containers, shaving, brushing his teeth. He had difficulty with all these things.
The role of the speech and language therapist is critical in brain injury, particularly in neurorehabilitation. Depending on location of stroke, it can affect a patient's communication, specifically language, so it can impair how a person understands what other people are saying.
Because at first when he arrived here, he's afraid to walk and he's complaining of dizziness.
With Ali, we focused a lot on his strengthening and his coordination, and we also looked at some adaptive ways that he could complete his ADLs.
طبعا نفسيا كنت منهار، ما مستوعب اللي صار all of a sudden مش مستعدة له.
The tutoring team focused a lot on education, and particularly with the SLT there was a lot of focus on stroke education, and then within that kind of creating that safe environment.
Me as a physiotherapist for Mr. Ali, we're focusing more with the balance, regaining his balance and confidence in mobilizing indoor and outdoor.
When a patient has a severe expressive or receptive communication problem. We can even engineer devices, customize computers, and they can use that to talk using their hands, using switches, or even using their eyes. So we can really customize that approach for them.
Physiotherapists play an important role in rehabilitation, especially in stroke patients, to regain their muscle strength, improve their balance.
The sharing of the neuropsychological formulation with the rest of the team, meaning that everybody that worked with him had a really good understanding of his difficulties, his stroke, and how that affected him as an individual.
As occupational therapists, we would initially assess the patient. So we would look at them holistically. We would look at their physical impairments, their cognitive impairments, their psychosocial background, and just look where the patient has come from and how they present now.
لما كانوا يسووا له أي اختبار يحس إن هذا مثل الأطفال، لأنه هو بيبتدي كيف إنه ياكل وكيف إنه يلبس وكيف الأمور هاي كلها، فكان بالنسبة له وايد صعبة وخاصة بعد على رجل.
So now I'm going to put the spoon in, close your mouth, and swallow. So I'm going to place the stethoscope just on your neck, and now I want you to take a sip for me. Okay, nice and slowly. Okay, so I heard 2 little swallows there, which is really good. Yeah, so definitely. So he progressed very quickly with his swallowing. So he moved through from puree to minced foods to soft foods, and then by the end of it, he could eat everything he liked.
As a nurse in Amana Healthcare, as much as possible, we promote patients' independence, may it be in ADLs or in simple decision making.
We make a treatment program for Mr. Ali, especially on the standing dynamic balance. So we focus a lot more with that one, and then endurance training, and then encouragement of patient to increase his ability to walk independently.
حسيت نفسي كأني طفل ما أقدر أجاوب أي شيء، يدي ما أقدر أحركها.
Now I'm going to try to open your mouth, keep it closed. Now can you open your mouth nice and wide for me? And I'm going to try to close it. Okay, not your head, just your jaw. Okay, now this time it's going to be hard, but try to take your jaw over. Okay, and now to the other side. Beautiful. Hello, good afternoon. So today I'm here to have a look at your eating and drinking. Yeah, right now you're using this tube to get a lot of your food into you and your nutrition and your hydration. But actually, let's get you eating. That's the goal here, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by looking at how you move your mouth and what's going on with your mouth, because the food's going to go into your mouth and into your stomach. So we'll start here, check here, and then see what's going on here. I beg your pardon. We found that he had a swallowing impairment, so he was actually using a nasogastric tube, which is a tube that goes into his nose and into his stomach. And that helps get nutrition because his swallowing and his mouth and throat function weren't great.
It was an achievement for us because he was able to mobilize independently and he gained more confidence walking independently, especially in the community.
We had to work on his wishes, and he had certain goals in his mind. He wanted to walk independently, he wanted to travel, he wanted to drive. So we have to keep that in mind and design a rehabilitation program to enable him to achieve those goals.
He required moderate assistance for most of his daily activities. He had quite significant weakness in the upper limb, and as I mentioned before, the poor coordination.
Psychological rehabilitation focused on his emotional adjustments, helping him to explore his feelings of fear and vulnerability around his experiences of having a stroke.
He had regained his mobility and independence, and he was able to go back in his normal way of life.
كان درب طويل، لكن الحمد لله مشينا ستيب باي ستيب شوي شوي لرجع تقريبا طبيعي.
طبعا انا كزوجه اكيد اذا ما وقفت مع زوجي بوقف مع مين في هاي اللحظات.
فالحمد لله رب العالمين وصلنا لمرحلة تعافي تقريبا، قدرت أمشي ورجعت قوتي ورجعت لبيتي.
Yes, Ali certainly gotten out from a critical condition, and he had a second chance to live a better life.
We focused first on the strengthening of his lower limb, which he has initially present.
After Ali's stay in Amana, he achieved the goals that he had set out for himself, and he returned to his home and to his community and was able to complete all his previous activities that he did prior to the stroke independently, and he was very pleased with these outcomes.
He was definitely a survivor. He not only showed the kind of physical resolve to get better and the physical ability to get better, but he actually showed a lot of emotional strength and courage to discuss the difficulties he was having, to face some of those fears, to address them and to accept help in moving forward.
Ali participated in the rehabilitation program quite enthusiastically, and we were pleased to see his progress. He was able to achieve all the goals that he had set for his rehabilitation program.
مركز أمانة صراحة بالستاف الفني والإداري وخاصة الفني كانوا يعني جدا مهتمين يعني بعلي وبالمرضى الموجودين بالمركز.
والله مو بس انكتب لي عمر جديد، يعني حياة جديدة، شوق للحياة اني اعيش انا، يعني فعلا انكتب لي عمر جديد وايد.